I direct this announcement to be entered into the minutes of this meeting. Roll call?
Mrs. Aquino?
Here.
Ms. Brett?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Melendez?
Here.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Here.
Mr. Orzillo?
Here.
Mr. Petrie?
Here.
Mrs. Figuera?
Here.
Dr. Giordano?
Here. Thank you. Superintendent, any communications?
None.
So the board, we did receive one communication from a parent. I did respond, and I BCC'd the rest of the board on that. And as my understanding, it's being looked into, and I will get back, and Dr. Banjo and myself will get back with that information. Superintendent's report. This is, I guess, where we'll do this. Or do you have something?
No, I think that's all I
That's
have.
right.
Yeah.
So I thought, the Finance Committee, we were talking last meeting or 2 meetings ago, and Lauren, jump in here anytime you want. Start the conversation with the board, since I'm the only one or some of us did a referendum last time, and then the last time we did a referendum was the kindergarten referendum. So a lot of us are new on the board, so we thought it was a good time to start talking to our architect about the processes and timeframes on a higher level of what we should be expecting. So we asked Frank to come here, give his expertise. He's done this in a lot of districts, and I'll turn it over to you.
Terrific.
And we can ask him questions afterwards.
All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the process. Everything about referendum for us is about process. So our system is about creating transparency, district and community involvement, conveying the need, why we're doing this, what exactly we need to get out of it, as well as what we offer, and that's single source referendum planning and marketing, public relations. The entire piece comes from solutions. There's no outside people. 2026, we just passed $94.5 million worth of referendum. We passed 3 out of 4 referenda in March. We were 4 of the 11 referenda that happened in March, and that's a 75% success rate. Since 2019, we passed $544 million worth of referenda, 14 out of 15. So the system works, the way we do things works, and it's a process that's collaborative and involves everyone. So our steps are pretty straightforward. We would want to meet with the administration, meet with the board, determine what the direction is, what exactly are the needs, select a target date for the referendum. We want to look at the facilities audit. We've already started to look at the facilities and establish a capital project listing. We also want to look at the educational side, and we want to look at the building capacity and understand the need for demographic studies or updates. Our process is obviously understanding the enrollment projections, understanding the demographics, and developing a scope and a budget that we can get us to a place where the board and the administration can select the priority projects necessary that go into the referendum. We also want to involve the community. We knew that there was a referendum that was put up that was unsuccessful. Why was it unsuccessful? What were the things in that referendum that didn't speak to the voters? How do we obtain that input that will help us make decisions moving forward? So we want to try to do that. And we do it a number of different ways. We either do it through meetings, we do it through community surveys. We'll put out a community survey that has a host of questions. It will actually specifically say, would you support a referendum if? How would you support a referendum if we did this? So that you're getting that feedback direct from the community. The more feedback we get, the better apt we are to be able to put something through that's going to be successful. Bond counsel, financial advisors, those are people that are critical to this process as well. When we start to put together scope, the bond counsel is going to help us prepare the questions. Financial advisors are going to help us establish the tax impact for the community. So those are critical things for us to look at. Referendum dates. There are 5 referendum dates, 5 dates for special elections that can be done. 4th Tuesday in January, 2nd Tuesday in March, last Tuesday in September, November 7th, which is the general election, 2nd Tuesday in December. Those are the dates that are out there. How do they fare? We're very statistic based, so we try to look at how do these referenda fare when they're in different months. So right now, if you look at the chart, this chart looks at referenda from 2010 to 2018. January, Not many referenda in January. It's after the holiday season. People are getting bills. People don't choose to put up referenda in December. So 38, 59% passed from during that period of time, 8-year period. From March, 62 referenda, 52% passed. April, 22%. Not a lot of referenda in April. September, 82 referenda total, 60% passed. November, 31 referenda, 73% passed. Now, there's 31 referenda. It's a general election. A lot of times you do get more people coming out to vote. The other side of that is that it could politicize the referendum if the people are going for council or mayor or are worried that people won't vote for them if they vote for the referendum. They will draw a line sometimes. So it can often politicize the referendum. December, 59 referendum total, 61% passed. So the most popular month was September with 82 referenda, followed by March at 62 and December 59. But the success rates were actually reversed. 61% of December's referendum passed handily, September just shy of that mark at 60, and March at 52. September used to be kind of a no-go because people were away for the summer, you couldn't get the information out. But now with social media and communications, September's just as good as any other time, especially back to school. People are excited, it's a good time to do it. So September's another considerable time to do referenda. We analyzed all the referenda that we looked at and we passed, and you can see that March was a big date, December was a big date. We've only had a couple in September. One was October. It was supposed to be September, but it conflicted with a Jewish holiday. It moved to October. I've only done one referendum in November, and it was a small roofing referendum for $2.4 million, and it did pass.
It did or didn't?
It did. It did pass. Our strategy for referenda is we try to include something for everyone. There's going to be capital project needs. There's going to be educational project needs. We want to make sure that we are doing things that the district needs and that speak to direct impacts to students and staff, as well as facilities, infrastructure, long time. Unfortunately, what most people don't see, roofs, boilers, windows, infrastructure items, that doesn't bring in votes. People want things that impact their children. So that's also the second piece of this. We still have to do the capital projects. We still have to do those infrastructure projects because without them, the school could close. If the boiler goes down in the winter, you're out of school. So these are things that need to be included, and that's where the facilities audit comes in. The facilities audit will address a lot of the capital, and then we start to look at the educational needs. We want to have meetings to understand what the programming needs. What are the big educational wants and needs for the district? Capacity analysis, looking at the DOE model as well as how the buildings are actually functioning. Developing concepts that will accommodate those programming needs, coming up with the projects that we want to address. Developing concepts, if there are, for expansion, as well as do we want to have a community committee or an ad hoc committee or do the community survey. These are all part of the planning and analysis process. I mentioned the community survey quickly, but we want to engage with the public. We want to display transparency, have open communication. It develops a sense of buy-in from the community that their voice was heard, especially if things are selected. And obviously this communication needs to start early on in the process in order to make that happen. And, again, snapshot of what that survey could look like. It's a series of yeses and nos, questions, very little in commentary, but we do have commentary sections, but it will get a general sense of where people are. As far as strategies for the referendum, there's a lot of forums out there that people talk, and they talk about referenda stuff. We focus on the yes. Our concentration is always about the people that are vested in the people that have a yes interest in the referendum. We try not to focus on the no's. There's a lot of moms and patch pages that there's a lot of negative commentary. We never directly engage. It's not something we do. However, if we see a negative comment come out and we have a contrary response, we will respond via our own social media post. We never directly engage. The district, as board members and as administration, you can remind people to vote, you can talk to people about the referendum date, but you cannot tell them to vote yes. It's something that you can't do as board members. You can do that through community groups. We will go out and speak to community groups, whether it's Unico or the Lions Club or the Senior Citizens Club. One of the things that we want to do at these community groups is make sure that people are getting the right information, and you as board members are going to be met in the supermarket or on the ball field, and people are going to ask questions when and if what this is all about. We prepare cheat sheets. We prepare a trifold brochure that everybody carries with them, so you're all giving the right answer. The wrong answer at the right time is bad. The right answer at the wrong time is bad. So these are things that we'll all go through. Obviously, your PTO, PTAs, they're your boots on the ground. These are people that have a true vested interest here. We want to rely on them as much as possible. We want to involve them, and we want to make sure to send consistent messages. How do we do it? It's a collaborative process. It involves the board, the administration, whatever committees, parents, PTOs, architects, financial advisors, and bond counsel. We must explain to the public why this work is needed. It's not something that we wish for, it's something that's needed. Why? We either establish a theme so people can understand that message, and we have to make sure that we're controlling the timing for the release of information. As I said before, the timing is everything. Consistency in the message. Everybody involved in spreading that word has to have the same story. Once somebody says something contrary to what we believe, what we have said, now there's uncertainty there. We try to avoid that. And then obviously opportunity for review and comment. We establish an email address for the referendum itself. People can ask questions. Those questions go on a frequently asked questions page, and we respond, and we keep that loop going throughout the entire process. So public forums, surveys, presentations, they all allow that positive public comment or negative public comment, but we want to know what those comments are. Understanding the message. We try to create things that keep it simple. A lot of words, people don't tend to read a lot of words. We try to create graphics and emojis that help the public and the community at large understand what it is that we're going for. Are we attacking projects in the arts or learning or wellness? Are we doing capital projects? If there's funding available, how is that communicated to the public? Obviously, the big thing for any referendum, the reason that referenda are important or positive is because it's the only time without ROD grants that you are eligible to receive up to 34% in debt service aid for your projects. It's the only time. It's a 30% off sale on the work that's being done. And with construction costs rising, we want to take advantage of everything that's available to us. The 34%, and the reason that it's up to, the state legislation calls it 40%. The state has only paid out 85% of 40% in all the time they've been doing this. So we calculate it based on what you're actually going to get, not what the rules say. So you'll see in the question, when the question goes out, it'll say 40%. You'll never get 40%, so we calculate all our debt service aid only on 34. The only projects that are truly eligible for 100% or 34% in debt service aid are capital projects that meet the DOE's list of priority projects. HVAC, roofing, windows, doors, all of the capital renovations, if you're gutting and renovating a space, it's eligible for up to 34%. Additions or new construction are not eligible for 34%. There's a formula. It's $143 a square foot, which is a number they developed in 2000 when they established this whole thing. So that number hasn't gone up like construction costs have. So it's 34% of $143 a square foot, which comes out to about $38 a square foot. That's what you would get on eligible new construction costs. So if it costs you $700 to build a new facility per square foot, you would get $35 off based on that funding. So we try to set up these projects in a way that you're going to maximize state aid. So the best way, if additions have capacity and they have unhoused students, you'll get more funding. So we try to make sure that we can prove that through the process. Public relations, as I said before, we have an in-house marketing team, an in-house public relations team. They are the ones that are going to be putting out the information. We are going to prepare content. We are going to run that by the board, make sure that the board is comfortable with the process and the direction. Once you are, we will continue to open up. You can provide us with either your information to your social media pages, if it's Instagram or Facebook, and we will do the posts for you. Or we will provide you the content and your people will do the updates. Either way, we provide a uniform strategy. Everything that goes out for the referendum has the same look. Everything that goes out for the referendum has the same feel. We hit an intense public relations campaign 90 days out. We want to make sure that our social media teasers go out and people start to understand this is happening. 60 days out, it goes intense because by 60 days out, we should have DOE's final numbers. We should know exactly how much debt service aid we're getting. And then 20 days out, we actually issue in every door direct mailer. It's a paper copy, goes to everybody's household in the district. Now, if the district has a great relationship with the municipality, we often piggyback on their email system and send out posts through them or piggyback on their website. We try to have that work. Otherwise, we're doing printed literature, the trifold brochures, banners on the schools, banners on buses, in the spaces in the building where we're doing doing work. Let's say we're renovating the media center. Outside that media center, there will be a QR code. People can scan that QR code. It'll give a description of the work to be done, as well as 3D renderings and models, so people can actually see what they're going to be getting at the end of the day. This is a process that involves a lot of tech and a lot of understanding of what you're getting at the end of the day. People want to know, what does this actually mean? Pretty pictures on a screen is one thing, but seeing the space and how it would be transformed, that's another. Public relations timeline, this is just an example of the kinds of campaign that we go on. Renderings for the public, website, on the district's website, there'll be a full page dedicated to the referendum. Agree on dates for all the meetings, initial presentation to announce, back to school night, PTO meetings, social media campaign starts, social clubs for the school, band, choir, sporting events. You can have tables at the football game. You can have all sorts of things, and we'll be there as much or as little as you want us to. So there's a whole way to reach the public, and our goal is to get as much information out as possible. Now, the other side of it is we'll have meeting after meeting, and we try to do hybrid meetings, but we've been to meetings where there's been 5 people in the audience, and it's just the way it works. The idea is to get as much information out in all the different venues as possible. Information packages on the website. You're going to get an overall referendum presentation that will describe to the public everything that's in the referendum, what it's going to cost, what the tax impact is, photos, renderings, everything about the referendum. It's probably 75 pages. What we do is break down that presentation into information packages. If someone wants to learn about the tax impact, all they have to do is look up the tax impact. If someone wants to see the plans, they can look up the plans, the renderings, etc. The other thing we do is we put up a tax impact calculator on your website. Most people in most presentations say the tax impact on the average assessed home is X. Well, not everybody in town has the average assessed home, so they start to guess. They start to run numbers in their head. We provide a tax impact calculator. They input the assessed value of their home into the calculator, and it will tell them, without guessing, what the amount of their impact will be. So it's not on the average assessed. It could be less, could be more. But that tax impact calculator takes the guessing game out of it.
Can you use that calculator afterwards for use for our own
You might be able to. It's based on the tax rate,
Right.
so it could be used for a variety of different things. But yes, it's a very useful tool.
Absolutely. It's not bad idea.
Multimedia promotion, we are social media, web, news, local. We have good contacts with News 12. We've done press releases and print brochures. Face-to-face, we'll go to PTO, PTA, back to school, site and building walkthroughs if you feel the need is there, public information sessions, as well as community organizations. Typical social media posts, these are the kinds of things that we'll throw out there for the public. They'll be on Instagram, they'll be on Twitter, Facebook, or X now. We'll prepare a video that talks about the referendum, what's included, how it's working. We'll make sure we send out voter registration forms early on in the process. Make sure you're ready to vote. We attack graduates, recent graduates that may still be in the area that have the ability to vote. We'll send out notifications on what the polling places are, where they're going to vote. So all of these things are out there. Many a time, we'll put a presentation on the website, and in years past, we would put a presentation up on the website, your website, and the public would click on it and go through slide by slide, and they'd formulate their own interpretation from looking at the slides. They may interpret something right, they may interpret it wrong. We stopped that. We now do a voiceover presentation, which is me or the superintendent, or however that works, talking over the slides. We create the script, we prepare a presentation, and someone can sit in the comfort of their home and watch the presentation as if I were delivering the presentation to them. So nothing, again, we try to eliminate things left for chance, people making the wrong interpretation. So these are things that we'll do as well. Informational videos, print, trifold brochures, newsletter style. If the district puts out a newsletter, we have a newsletter style that we marry into. Every door direct mailer, this is that mailer that goes out to every door in the community. Banners, you can see we'll do any kind of banners, lawn signs. These are things that are all put out. We did vinyl bus graphics, and again, those QR codes. And that's really what we're talking about, is to be able to let the public know what's going on. We'll even go old school. We'll put old school boards up in your lobbies and wherever you want, but there's always going to be a QR code next to it so that they can log in. That's the process of putting this out there. It's about transparency, it's about information, and obviously the beginning part is about figuring out what do you really need and how can we really put something together that's responsible, palatable for the community, and gets you guys what you need in the long term. So that's really the process here.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the board? No? I think it's clear. So what I was thinking of, in the next week or so, maybe put together an ad hoc committee of board members to start, and then present, as we go through this process, present the information back like we would another committee at board meetings, where we're at, the dates, recommend dates, meet to talk about that, things of that nature. So I think this is just the start of it all. I know we have one more long-range planning meeting, right? That's at Mountain View?
That just happened. We have one meeting back at the board
Oh,
offices.
they're back at the board office. That's right. Thank you.
June, is it June 6th, if I remember
I
correctly?
think it is June 6th.
I don't
And
know
so,
why.
and then
yeah.
we'll have the demographer study done.
So just in reference to, thank you, Frank. Great presentation. Really appreciate that.
Can you share that with all the board members?
Of
Do you
course,
mind?
of course.
So going back to Frank's process, we're actually in the middle of it a little bit. We've been really thoughtful about ensuring that we have a collective understanding of the needs of the community. That's why, going back to the start of the school year, we had reached out about the long-range planning committee, in which we solicited, anyone who'd want to join us to really get a handle on what's going on across the district. So we started that back in the fall. We're wrapping up, as Dr. Giordano pointed out. This committee made up of cross sections of individuals, whether it be residents, parents, staff members, students, board members. So we visited every single building. We had the principals really give an overview of the state of their building, which was a great opportunity for the community members to get a really sense of what's going on, because I'm sure some of you only had your students attend one elementary school, but you may not be familiar with the three others, or they left for high school, whatever reason. So this was a great opportunity for community members to get a real understanding of all 6 buildings. So we're going to be moving through this, coming back together in June here at the board office with the expectation to start going over some of the studies that we've been in the process of getting a handle on. First, our demographic study, which we are on the final stages. However, we are looking to make sure that our data is accurate and true because fortunately our community is growing, which is wonderful. We have some really great opportunities here as we have new developments coming in. We are working with the planning board, reached out to them this morning to make sure the numbers are correct. As soon as that's finalized, that's something the committee is going to be looking at, as well as the capacity studies to make sure that how our buildings are being utilized can be monopolizing some of that money that's available through a referendum. So we are already through that phase as far as planning. So with the Long Range Planning Committee, we are in the process of finalizing our demographic study as well as our capacity study. In addition to the ad hoc committee, I do maybe looking at doing a community survey. So maybe as far as that's something we would want to discuss.
Yeah, because I think we have two things. One, we have obviously data that we need, and you just listed a bunch
Right,
of data that we
right.
have to have and have already started, right? We've got facilities audit, demographic study, capacity analysis, all important things. The other part, to your point, is going to be that we're going to have feedback and involvement from the community. Long-range planning is a great place to start. We're going to need some kind of survey because we need to know where we are, where the temperament is, for sure. But the other thing that is really important that I just want to make sure anytime anybody says the word referendum, you think savings, 34% is no joke. We can get a lot done through a referendum with 34% savings. So it's just something to keep in mind as we move forward, because that is going to be really key for us as we maximize our budget.
And to punctuate that, any work that you do out of your capital budget, you're
Yeah.
paying 100%.
Exactly.
And the date of that meeting is Thursday, June 11th.
For the long-range planning, the final.
That's the
Yes.
final meeting.
Thank you,
Yes.
Ms. Farrar.
Any other questions or comments for the architect? Anyone want to add anything to it? Thanks a lot, Frank. We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
You guys have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Thank you. Anything else, Dr. Banju?
That's all I have.
That's all you got? Super. Public comments on action items. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public, being mindful of the privacy rights regarding students and board employees. To avoid any potential liability on the part of the speaker, the board discourages your comments or references. The board discourages references to specific individuals. While directing your comments or questions to the board president, please understand that the public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as a question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities for you to share your thoughts with the board. The board president may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the particular issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command with the school district. However, responses may be provided at the end of the session. There are times when comments and questions will require additional fact gathering before response is provided, and we encourage, as always, to be polite and not use any curse words. So stand up, say your name and address on any action items from 5.1 down to 6.1.
No,
No, it's not.
it is not. Because we're not
Because we're
voting
not
on
voting on
it
a referendum.
tonight.
Comments on it. That's why this was noted as a referendum meeting,
And we,
was it not? This shouldn't be talked about since it was just talked about now.
it'll be, you can ask your question at the next public comment on anything going on in the district.
This is part of the district.
This is public comments for action items only.
Put out as.
A discussion about the referendum for the board. Please, Mr. Wells Miller, you'll have an opportunity to speak at the public comment on other stuff,
Let me look at my camera.
as long as it's about an action item.
It's gonna be back to one second, what I want to talk about. Martin Wells, Muller, 25 Woodcrest Avenue, Bud Lake, New Jersey. You know, talking about the referendum as it was put out publicly to be about, not just the
No, we're
action
not.
items.
Mr. Wells Muller, we're
I
not
don't care
doing
what
this.
you say.
Just 5
I'm gonna
minutes.
continue.
You just need
Creepy,
5 minutes.
you just need 5 minutes, Mr.
Don't.
Wells Muller.
I'm gonna finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's follow the
understand.
protocol.
Let's follow,
You
you
don't
were able to
answer
talk
this.
about it in
I'm
the public
not done.
comment session on
I'm
anything on the
not
district,
done.
Mr. Wells Muller.
I'm not done.
Mr.
I'm
Wells
not.
Muller,
Give me a minute. I will get-
we're not wasting our time as the board members listening to you.
I'm gonna
This is not the
finish.
part.
I was gonna
I'm
say,
gonna finish.
Yes, he
yes, he is.
I'm telling you, but
Step away from the mic. You're interrupting the meeting.
this
Please,
is not
come
gonna
to the
end
second
well
public
for all
comment.
of you.
Second public comment, Mr. Wells Muller.
This is
And
not
now
gonna
he's
end well.
threatening.
Just 5 minutes.
Now you're threatening.
That's not a threat.
You just said it's not going to end well for all of us. That's what you just said.
For the referendum, if you don't understand English, I can't.
I just
All right,
understood what you
Mr. Wells
said.
Muller, this is a public meeting of a governmental agency. If you can't behave yourself, I'm gonna have Mr. Creepy escort you out.
We're good.
I have total respect for this man.
We're good.
Action items, 5.1 to 6.1. Anyone from the public? Closing it to the public. Consent agenda, Ms. Aquino, for action items.
Yes, I'd like to approve monthly expenditures and reports and our administrative action items 5.1 through 6.1.
Second.
Question or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Ms. Schoening?
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Ms. Brett?
Yes, excused on anything related to the township.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Dr. Giordano?
Yes. Public comment, others. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public, being mindful of privacy rights regarding students and the board employees to avoid any potential liability on the part of the speaker. The board discourages references to specific individuals. While directing your comments on questions to the board president, please understand that the public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities for you to share your thoughts with the board. The board president may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the particular issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command with the school district. However, responses may be provided at the end of this session. There are times when comments or questions will require additional fact gathering before a response is provided. Again, we ask for courtesy, politeness, and no curse words. Now, anything of interest going on in our district, please state your name and address for the record.
Martin Wells, 25 Woodcrest Avenue, Bud Lake, New Jersey. First place, I don't make threats, number one. If you don't understand that, that's not a threat. You have no idea what a threat is, but that was not one.
Mr. Wells, may I please ask you a question?
I am going to get there, all right? Number two, this was put out as a referendum meeting. That means when you talk about it prior to the things, that's supposed to be included in the discussions, all right? It's decorum, something you can read up on. All right, number two, what you need to find out is how many referendums have ever been approved when you had such a high tax impact put on the residents prior to what you're trying to do. Now, I've always been for a referendum. I'm still for this referendum. But from what I'm hearing from a lot of people in the community, none of them are in favor of this because they just got a double whack in our town, mostly from the school district. Okay, so you guys need to think about the priorities here, okay? This is not about egos, it's about what's best for Mount Olive, okay? And when you have something put out publicly as a referendum meeting, that's when they're supposed to open target, when you're supposed to be able to talk about this as a community, all right? You guys are elected officials to represent me, okay? That's what you're elected for. Now, some of you I may have voted for, some of you I didn't vote for you. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're supposed to represent every single taxpayer and student in this town, because we are the ones whose dollars you are spending. So remember that when you go home tonight, all right? So what you need to figure out is how are you going to get a message across when people already right now are shell-shocked that their taxes between the school board and the town are going up $1,000. Okay, we missed the opportunity last time because it was a poorly delivered message because of all the past lackadaisical efforts from past administrations. It's not a Summit issue, it's not Zwicky. It goes back to Reynolds when he failed to do a lot of the repairs. It goes back to one of our past supers who did nothing. And people got upset in this town because they have all this money they spent over all these years, it didn't go anywhere. You've done a lot of fixing over the past few years of doing some of these repairs. That's the reason why I got voted down last time. Okay, but you need to keep doing more. You got to explain it better and not have attitude sitting there in your whole high and mighty thinking you're everything, but you're not. And I am addressing that to one person, okay? Remember, you represent everyone, all right? And you got to handle yourself with decorum and dignity, all right? And when you have a meeting publicly put out there for the referendum, you have a comment on the referendum, all right? In that section, before the public comments, that's supposed to be included as one of the action items to be discussed about. Hopefully you can take the time to read the bylaws. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Closing public comment. Would you like to take it now, Ms. Fitzgerald?
Completely agree on the fact that we are going to need to be able to go, we need to know what the community thinks. Like we just talked about, we have to have a bunch of data and a lot of feedback before we can even remotely begin to encourage, a referendum. I think we also need to remember we're all taxpayers up here too, most of us, sorry. But we are taxpayers too. We're not planning to do anything that's going to hurt ourselves or hurt other people in the district. And we are not talking about this being tomorrow. This is a long-range thing. This is something that has started a long time ago. It is going to take a lot more time, and it is not happening next year. Obviously, there's going to be no tax impact next year, but we are very much taking the feedback and involvement from our community into account. It has to be one of the most important things we do. Otherwise, we're going to be wasting time and dollars. And that is built into the process, as you saw, and we're going to be very conscientious about that. So I agree.
Thank you, Ms. Fitzgerald. I also like to comment on, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Attorney, and I want to make it clear to our public out here, our meetings are to be held in public. They are not for the public. We just have to do the business of the board in public. That's what the Sunshine Law is about. Am I correct about that?
Yes, we're here to hear the public make their comments too.
Right.
But, I mean, the public, we handle a number of matters here in the course of a meeting.
Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, this meeting was for the board to get information as a board from our architect as a group, and the only time we can do that is to have a full open meeting for the Open Public Meeting Act, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. So we do have a section where we allow people to come up on a myriad of things and talk about anything in the district. That was the thought behind it. We weren't cutting the public off to anything. So the intention of what I disagree with you about is we did everything right. Whether you agree with it or not, that's a different story, and I appreciate everyone's difference of opinion. But we did everything right. Am I correct, Mr. Geppert?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to old business. Ms. Brett. Just want to update the board on two things. I'll wait for Ms. Brett to leave the room. Is she out? Okay, super. I just want to follow up something that has been going on with the dome and we've been working with the township on. So following the deflation of one or two inflatable indoor recreation facilities in the state last winter, the Department of Community Affairs, DCH, has launched an aggressive effort to inspect and identify potential construction code violations at these facilities across the state. The district was notified that the dome at the high school was in violation of some of these regulations because local construction code officials are actually employees of the state. DCH, the Mount Olive code official, was directed to issue a notice of violation to the district. As required by the regulations, the notice stated the dome would need to be closed if the conditions were not addressed. The district and its architect have carefully reviewed these allegations. Because most of the allegations were not correct and should not have been made, the district has appealed to the Morris County Construction Board of Appeals. A hearing has not been scheduled yet. Meanwhile, the district is having productive discussions with the township to address certain conditions, but also explaining that some of the allegations are not supported by the facts. It is important to remember that this facility was granted all necessary approvals and a certificate of occupancy when it was open. We are hopeful that we can resolve all these issues shortly so that the dome can remain open and operate in a manner that is safe for all to use it. And I think Dr. Bangio backs up, and so will Ms. Figuera. The town has been very, very good at working with us and trying to work these things through, so it's very appreciated from the township side. Any questions about that from the board? Okay. Something else on the Mount Olive Villages Water Company and the Sewage Villages Company. On May 14th, New Jersey DEP filed a suit against Mount Olive Villages Water Company and Mount Olive Villages Sewer Company, seeking an injunction and penalties due to the longstanding violations of the state air pollution and water pollution law of the village's sewer plant. The papers filed by NJDEP included certifications by residents and reports of NJDEP inspectors regarding the numerous violations at the facility. At NJDEP's request, the court has scheduled a hearing on what is called an order to show cause, asking the court to order the defendants to act quickly to address these problems. The hearing is scheduled for June 10th. We will file a motion as a board to intervene in that case to make sure that the court is aware of the effect of the odors on our employees and students at the middle school. Any questions about that? So we're, in essence, jumping in on filing our own motion with the NJDEPs. We're good? Any questions? I just want to give the board an update on that. Super duper.
Can we bring Lisa back?
Yes, can you get Ms. Brett, Mr. Creefy? Any other old business from board members? Well, I see if Ms. Brett has any old business. Thanks, Ms. Brett. Anyone have any other old business? New business? Oh, super, moving right along. Board member comments? Anybody? Ms.
Just
Brett, go ahead.
the high school students participated in the Special Olympics walk. I have to say, they conducted themselves with such kindness. It was just overwhelming.
That's good to hear.
Mount Olive baseball.
Yes.
Come on, high
Yes,
school
yeah.
baseball boys, congratulations.
Congratulations, baseball, for
That
sure.
was incredible. Awesome. Well done.
Anyone else want to jump in there? I figured it was just a quick meeting, we didn't have to do that. Excuse me. confidential session. Motion to recess in confidential session. Resolved, the board meet in confidential session for the purpose of discussing negotiations, personnel, matters of attorney-client privilege, pending or anticipated litigation, confidential pupil matters. Be it further resolved that matters discussed in confidential session be disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken. No, action won't be taken. Action will be taken. All those in favor? Aye. We're in closed session. Roll call, Ms. Schoening?
Mrs. Aquino?
Here.
Ms. Brett?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Melendez?
Here.
Mrs. O'Neill? Here. Mr. Orzillo?
Here.
Mr. Petrie?
Here.
Mrs. Figuera? Here. Dr. Giordano?
Here. Motion for resolution 6.2?
There's a sentence on the back.
Okay. Resolution for a residency hearing of the students assigned ID numbers 310416 and 6501998. Whereas on May 4th, 2026, a committee of the Malad Board of Education held a residency hearing for the above referenced students. And whereas the parent of the above referenced students attended and participated in the hearing, and whereas the committee, after having heard and considered all the proofs and testimony presented, gave the parent an opportunity to supplement the record with additional evidence concerning the student's residency and to postpone further deliberation until such time as additional documents were produced by the parent. Whereas having provided further documents and information, the parent was afforded an opportunity to speak before the full board in executive session on May 18th, 2024, and did appear before the board for such purpose. And whereas upon further consideration of testimony and evidence presented at the May 4th committee hearing, the supplemental evidence provided, and the parent's statements before the full board at its May 18th meeting, the committee recommended to the full board that it find, based upon the residency investigation performed by the board's director of security, that the students were not domiciled within the Malad School District during the 2025-2026 school year. Now, therefore, be it further resolved that the board finds that the above referenced students were not legally entitled to attend school in the district during the period from August 31st, 2025 through May 18th, 2026. And be it further resolved that the parent be assessed tuition for the students' ineligible attendance in the school districts in a total amount of $43,908. And be it further resolved that the board will consider entering into a payment plan agreement with the parent for the above tuition and hereby authorizes the board's business administrator to negotiate such agreement, subject to the board's approval. Be it finally resolved that written notice of this decision and of the family's rights to contest same before the Commissioner of Education be served upon the parent as required by law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Schoening?
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Brett?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Dr. Giordano?
Yes. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor?